Am I the a-hole for refusing to help my brother or his family? I, 24 female, have recently bought my own home. Mom insisted I invite my brother, 40 male, and his family over to celebrate. For background, my brother hasn't amounted to anything in his life despite my parents supporting him through their financial highs and abysmal lows. I remember when he found out he wouldn't be getting any inheritance from my parents, and the rest would be divided up between my nephew from his first marriage and myself, because according to my parents, we have both done something with our lives, while his bad decisions have left him in a rent trap and a massive amount of unnecessary debt. I want to also mention that for a long time, my parents barely managed to keep a roof over our heads. It asked that my brother help make ends meet, which he later admitted he only did because he thought it would be worth it when they die and he inherits the place. Fast forward to last night, and I am showing them around. It's a big place and a little fancy, I will admit, but I know I deserve the life I have now. Because throughout my teenage years, I had to give up my scholarship money to help pay off his debts, my free time and study time to look after his son, and I even had to drop out of high school because I was skipping class to work. That's how bad things were. But I went to a trade school and got 3 diplomas in engineering and programming before finishing my degree 2 years ago, all while juggling a full-time job so I could have experience on my resume when I graduated. After dinner, my brother found me on the balcony and I had to pretend I wasn't hiding from him. He started asking about what my plan was, now that I had a house and very little of the mortgage left to pay off. I was honest and said I was probably going to work abroad, travel and save for retirement. He asked me where it all goes when I die, and I told him his son, since he's hardworking and deserves it the most. He got angry and asked why not him and his family, to which I told him that I had no interest in leaving anything for his family because he has no interest in me and our parents aside from what he can get from us. His wife came in screaming, calling me selfish for not helping my brother and my very own niece, to which I replied, I'm going to tell you the same thing you'll hear from your landlord when you no doubt fail to make rent for the 3rd month in a row. Get out of my house. Mom heard this and yelled at me, before saying we both ruined what was supposed to be a lovely night. His wife said my elitism and selfishness ruined the night, and not them for asking for a little help, since I clearly could. Or at least pay for their daughter to go to a private school and secure her future. She's 3. After they left, Mom said I should at least consider helping, and that he can't help the situation that is in. I told her that if she really doesn't see why that's a bad idea, then she should leave as well. And now neither of my parents are answering my calls. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. I don't understand why the 40-year-old brother thinks he's going to outlive OP. Not the a-hole. If anything, he owes you. He is diagnosed with strong narcissistic traits. Plus, he likes to think and act like he is much younger than he actually is and often lies about his age. Or, hear me out, he has literally contemplated getting rid of you. What he said was creepy AF. I would be going very, very low contact with him if at all. Not stay home. I find it odd that your parents, having learned the lesson themselves that your brother is a leech, are now asking you to take over the burden of subsidizing him. My parents planned to have me so that my brother would not be alone when they died. My guess would be that they don't like how their unfair parenting has ruined any chance of us having a meaningful bond. I think if I gave in and helped him, then they'd interpret it as us being a real brother and sister, instead of what it would actually be, his sister pitying him. Not stay home. Why is your brother thinking about an inheritance from you when you're younger and will likely outlive him? Safety-wise, don't leave anything to him. Who knows if he would hurt you to get that money? Why should you pay for anything for your nieces and nephews? They aren't your kids. Their costs are your brother's problem. Now, if you want to open accounts to help them because you care for them, then do that. But make sure your brother and his wife have zero access to it. And if you don't want to do that, then don't. They're the one that choose to have kids, not you. It's not your problem or responsibility. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to see my baby half-brother after the way my stepmom and dad treated me? Hi, I have divorced parents. I currently live with my mom and my mom's boyfriend, but my dad lives with his new wife that we will call Eve. Eve and I have never been close, to be honest. Last year, on July, she wrote a 400-word paragraph to my mom on how much she despises me and doesn't like the fact that I visit, even though I do not visit to see her. I only visit to see my dad and my great-grandma who lives with them and absolutely have no interest in her. Not only that, but she has set up rules my dad has to follow, And she made a list of things that I found she once done before her birthday. She basically manipulates my dad, and I'm very sure she uses him for money. Anyway, now my relationship with my dad has been torn apart because of her manipulation. For example, my grandpa had a 70th birthday that I only found out because a relative had posted it on their Facebook. That I had no clue of, even though they both went to it and didn't even notify me. Plus, the worst part is that they had a wedding that also I only knew about through relatives' Facebook post. Turns out my stepmom only wanted to invite important people, even though I am her husband's daughter. I was pretty angry by that, but a real shocker came when she got pregnant. She nor my dad said anything about it too, and I only found out through my grandma. Then this summer, my half-brother is born. To be honest, I had no reaction, but still congratulated them because I am not a rude person. Now here comes the part I am still mad about. I asked if I could visit my dad, and turns out my stepmom wrote a response. I realized it by the way the message was written, which basically said that no strangers are allowed at the moment. I got angry. I'm not nobody's daughter no more, and a stranger? So when a while later they invited me to see my half-brother, I just left them on read. And I haven't replied since, and it has been 2 weeks. So am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Good lord. Tell your dad to grow a freaking spine. I would have said grow a pair, but apparently he has 2 children now. His new wife has them in her purse. Yep, good luck getting those out anytime soon. He gift-wrapped them for her. Best to just pretend you don't have a dad and move on. It seems like this is all the step-monster, but your father is allowing her to write and deliver these manifestos and they're not standing up for you. You deserve better. Not the a-hole, and I'd tell your mom to go to court to increase financial support since you are no longer spending any time with your dad. If he tries to fight it, tell the court you feel unsafe around his wife. Show them the messages she sent to you and your mom, and therefore would need your dad to make arrangements to only have you when she isn't around. My mom was forced to sell her house, which is worth approximately $800K, to my dad for about $30K because everyone thought my mom was the bad guy for divorcing my dad. And everyone was on his side. Plus, my mom tells me sometimes he doesn't even pay child support or pay the mortgage for the house. I wish was lying about this. Even more reason to take him to court. He owes her back pay plus would probably be ordered to pay more since he has no physical custody of you anymore. The courts can and frequently will garnish his wages or even his tax refund, if in the US, to ensure the support gets paid. Not the a-hole. You didn't share your age. But it sounds like unless there is court-ordered visitation, you're probably old enough to cut ties with your dad. Tell him exactly why, so he fully understands the damage he has allowed his wife to make. I'm 14, nearly 15. I was a bit scared my post would be terminated because of my age, so I just didn't post it. I hope that makes sense. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for kicking him and his 12-year-old daughter out over spilled water? I started seeing a guy 2 years ago, and I thought things were going well enough to entertain the idea of living together, but we decided to do a trial run first to see if it could work, because we both have children and busy schedules. He has full custody of his one child, 12 female named Becca. I have 2 sons, 8 and 5, also having full custody. We gave this trial run a month, as that is when his lease went up anyways. The kids get along great, but everything else is spiraling and I feel like I'm losing my head. I don't know what is going on, but Becca lies like a rug about the stupidest things. She takes no accountability for anything she does, and if you call her out on it, she immediately goes into full-blown sub-story about why she lies. Like, I just feel like the stupidest kid ever and that's why I lie all the time. And it's truly stupid things. Like she was painting her fingernails in the den after we told her to do it in her room. My son has asthma and can't handle the smell. And she will dead center stare you in the face and say she wasn't painting her nails, even though the nail polish is sitting right in front of her. Or when she doodles on the walls, and this is rental, with her makeup, and then lies and says it wasn't her. She will actually yell at you if you catch her and scream, "What? I didn't do anything," before you even say anything to her. She has even ripped holes in the mattress I gave her. Then there was today. My peace is beyond disrupted at this point already, so I find myself constantly having to micromanage a lying 12-year-old and make sure she isn't destroying my property. Well, today she puts my youngest up on the counter, he's 5, and turns on the faucet. She then starts splashing him and whatever else. I see it on the motion camera and go running downstairs, and there is easily a half-gallon water covering my kitchen floor at this point. All my mail is drenched, My car key fob is now busted from water damage, etc. I tell them both to get to their rooms and go decompress in the bathroom, only to find that the 12-year-old had destroyed that room as well. She had just taken a shower. Water all over the place and seeping into the hardwood floor because the floor mat is drenched. She dumped out all mine and my son's shampoo and left it in her teapot still in the tub. I lost it. I called her father inside and said they need to leave. This is not worth it to me as I feel like I'm losing my mind. He says I'm being pathetic over spilled water, when in all actuality, it's his kid destroying my house in peace. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole and wow. He said, you are pathetic? Holy turd balls. What an awful parent and partner. Good thing you did a trial. The kid needs therapy. The kid needs discipline, consequences, and adequate parenting more like. Not the a-hole. You're making the right call for yourself and your child. His lack of parenting is abysmal. He said she has always been like this, and that her therapist says it's just her way of working through things. Therefore, never steps in and does anything. Well, at least we know where she gets the line from, because a therapist would not say that, nor would they tell him to just let her keep doing it. Not stay home. At 12, she's way too old to be destroying things for fun and blatantly lying about it. If she was 5, I'd say you just need to work on setting better boundaries / clear consequences. But it sounds like this girl knows exactly what she's doing, and her dad is enabling and minimizing this behavior. Becca has problems, and your boyfriend clearly isn't going to do anything about it. Definitely don't make this move permanent. If I were you, I'd reevaluate this whole relationship. I thought this. I also initially thought her actions might be intentional and coming from a place of resentment towards the OP. If her dad has full custody, maybe she feels as though a mother figure has been replaced and a change in environment has stressed her out. But after reading OP's response, the dad has excused the behavior by saying her therapist claims this is the child's way of dealing with things and to leave her to it. No therapist would suggest this, and I doubt her dad has even taken her to one. She's old enough to understand the consequences of her actions, and it's clear the dad hasn't disciplined her, taken her to a behavioral therapist, or parented her correctly. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister she's a divorced mom? A bit of background. My sister has been divorced from her ex-husband for the last 3 years, and they have 2 children. They have joint legal custody and nearly equal parenting time, though he has 2 days a month more than she does because of her work schedule. He makes a lot more than she does, and even though he has more parenting time, he pays her child support, covers their children's insurance, and pays for their private school. From what my sister has told me, financially, the divorce was good for her. They actually get along very well for exes and has been great with our family. We always get invites to things like birthday parties and such. I'm sure someone will ask the reason they got divorced. And according to my sister, she wasn't happy and wanted out. Nobody has accused the other of anything bad, but my sister is a handful. She started dating as soon as they separated, while it took him a lot longer. But I don't think there was any sort of affair or partner in waiting. Now, back on Father's Day, a mutual friend made a charming post about her late ex-husband. What a great dad he was, and how her kids miss him. I made a nice comment and scrolled on. Later, another friend made a crap post about moms having to do everything due to absent dads. I don't know who the person was with the first comment, but there was several who joined in, including my sister. I normally just scroll on in these sorts of situations, but my sister said something to the effect of her being a single mom and joined in on the crapping on dad's fest. It angered me, so I replied to her that she was completely tone deaf, that she needed to delete her comments. True to her norm, instead of saying whoops and deleting her comment, she fired back. So I told her that she's not a single mom. She's a divorced mom with an ex-husband who's very involved, has the kids more than she does, and pays for everything. Not long after, the OP deleted the whole crap show. I let it go, but then come to find out my sister is mad at me. I get it if her claim was I don't know the real situation and her ex is really some sort of monster, but she's just mad that I called her out on Facebook and diminished her by saying she wasn't a single mom. Okay, I'm going to say not the a-hole on this, and I'm fully prepared to get downvoted. But personally, I agree with you, and it annoys me as well. Technically, your sister is single relationship-wise, and a parent, so there is that argument. But when people traditionally think of a single mom or dad, they think of someone parenting on their own, with no help. If you have an active ex, you aren't alone. In fact, you get even more breaks than married moms. True, you are on 24/7 when you have the kids, but you get entire weekends off or even the whole week. Married parents don't get that. We have friends that are truly single parents, and her claiming to be in the same category seems wrong to me. I was raised by a truly single parent. My dad died, and I have a hard time when divorced parents say they're single parents in situations where both parents are involved. Not stay home. It might have been better handled in private, but sometimes people need to be questioned and held accountable for what they are saying publicly. From everything you mentioned, it seems like her ex is a caring parent, and she should not be telling others differently if it is not true. If she was talking trash on her own thread, I would have let it go, but not on someone else's who was lamenting the loss of her ex and her kids missing him. Not stay home. Your sister sounds like my ex-sister-in-law. She walked away on a marriage/kid because, and this is in court documents, she didn't feel like being married with a kid anymore. She's been a drama queen and liar ever since the divorce. Good for you for putting her in her place. That's your niece/nephew's dad she is, apparently, lying about for pity points on social media. To hell with her. She admits her ex is a great guy, she just didn't love him. Given her combative nature, it was probably fairer for her to end the marriage than just going through the motions.